Opening levels of the day. I think this is happening after a really long time as well. So about 300 points for the Sensex, 75 for the Nifty. The Nifty Bank about 308 points. So the best performing index amongst the three. The mid cap and the small caps probably not doing as well for most part of the trading day. But let's see how they are closing. About 0.5%. So big lackluster compared to the large caps. Still not a bad performance. What's doing well amongst others? Reliance is there, but SBI, ICICI Bank, Reliance, I would reckon that these are amongst the heavyweights. And HDFC, so you have such stocks participating in a meaningful way, you would know that it's good for the markets. Infosys about 1.25%, HDFC Bank about 1%, so that's not done too bad either. Select pharma names, but they don't really matter too much from an index weightage perspective. What's not done well? Sun Pharma down about 2.5%. Tata Steel has gone down about a couple of percentage points, and Yes Bank about 1.5% lower. But the losers, few and far in between. Kotak Bank yesterday overtook ICICI Bank as the third largest private bank by market cap, and now it's given way again because it's down 0.5% versus ICICI Bank up about 3.5%. So a bit of a musical chair out there. But having said that, while the large caps have done well, the mid caps not so much. But there are individual pockets which are standing out.
And I'm going to start off with Mangalam Cement. That counter did pretty well in today's session. We saw good gains coming up for that, 8% higher for Mangalam Cement, and it's going to be closing around the day's high levels. And Mangalam Drugs too, which was Jay Bala's fifth stock of the day. So that's also closing with gains of nearly 13% as we speak. Bhushan Steel was up and about right from the word go in the morning. Remember, yesterday Tata Steel informed the stock exchanges that they have been declared as the final bidder for the Bhushan Steel plant. In fact, they bid for the bid was the highest, and probably they would be getting that plant. And look at that counter towards the end. It's closed almost at day's high with gains of 17 or 18%. The other one which did well from the retail space, Trend, that's also closing around the day's high mark with gains of almost 8%. So good day for Trent as well. And Tejas Network from the broader markets was the other counter which registered strong gains in today's trade. On the flip side, the losing side, REC and PFC, both those stocks were weak right from the opening session actually, and they're also in the futures and options market. So there was some amount of shorting seen for both these stocks. They've been weak actually for the last few sessions, but REC particularly was down in trade, 7 to 8% trading lower. The other pocket which was weak for the third straight session was the sugar pack. Reason being the production this time around has been higher, almost up 45% as indicated by ISMA. The prices, sugar prices in the recent past have been falling, and that's the reason why the stocks are correcting. So stocks like Balrampur Chini and Uttam Sugar were down. One stock, PSU banking stock, which was outperforming so far, finally saw some profit booking, and I'm talking about IDBI Bank. That stock actually corrected today, and look at the intraday chart. It is closing almost with cuts of nearly 6% in trade. IDBI Bank, remember, on YTD basis too has outperformed if you compare it to the markets or also to any other PSU banking stock, Neeraj.
Yeah, so on close, the market's closing very well. Let's look at the turnover, and today being Thursday, you'd probably have a higher options turnover any which ways, but just wondering if, wow, that's high.
I think that should be the highest ever turnover being recorded on the F&O side, and the reason for that is the weekly options expiry day as well, Neeraj, 16.7. The rally, I think, which we saw towards the end was contributed by majority of the banking stocks, hence the underperformance from the broader markets as well. But on the NSE cash side, the turnover was still the same actually. We saw 30,000 turnover in yesterday's trade as well. So I think what is important for tomorrow's trading session is that the rally that you saw for the banking stocks today, can it continue tomorrow or not? Or today's rally was only a function of the expiry day? So that remains a very critical point. Pull up the Nifty intraday chart. I think when we opened today, the high level was somewhere about 10,241, and the closing, and this is around that level, we opened, there was a gap up opening, we slipped into the red, but towards the end, this bounce back that you're seeing was contributed by stocks like State Bank of India, ICICI, even your other heavyweights, Reliance Industries or let it be HDFC, all of them were trading in the green. They contributed the most. If you look at the contributors chart as well, Reliance features on the top. Remember, while the market was correcting, this was one stock which was actually weak. So some bounce back coming in from Reliance Industries. And rest, it is dominated by financials, ICICI Bank, HDFC and HDFC Bank. Nothing contributed or capped the gains. Because if you look at the contribution, TCS, Sun Pharma, Tata Steel, ITC, they were in the red, but we didn't see sharper cuts for these heavyweights in today's session. Well, on that note, let's try and get some closing thoughts going from our experts. Sumit, I'm going to come to you. Finally, we're closing. We've defended the 200-day moving average for the second straight day. Let's say once again, if we have a gap up opening tomorrow, how would you approach the index?
Same view. I think at present the closing what you have seen is good, and now here on there is a possibility that from for next 1 or 2 days we can see a bounce back till 350 or 400 levels, 10,350 or 10,400 levels. So for next 1 or 2 days, it's better to be on buy side. And if tomorrow we see a move around 40 to 50 points as a gap up opening, then also I think one should be on buy side for the targets of 10,350, 10,400 levels. Downside 10,150 should be the stop loss for long positions.
Okay, so for the next 2 days, Sumit suggests to be on the buy side. And finally, Mayuresh, some closing thoughts from you. The sort of correction that one is seen in the markets, there would be some retail investors who would have turned jittery. What would your advice be to them?
No, again, I think we are in for volatile times, at least in the short interim time period. But over a longer period of time, as I said, I think a lot more positive will start playing out. Corporate earnings for one, I think, as they have been quite reasonable in Q3, if they start showing signs of imminent recovery, I think that is going to be one important aspect and facet that the market will watch out for. Again, over the next few weeks and months, I think the initial monsoon trends is something that we'll ideally look out for. And again, that is going to be extremely critical in terms of how the inflationary trajectory and the rate curve movement, specifically in the Indian context, moves. And again, on the global scale, again, what we've probably seen in terms of yield movements, I think that becomes a key monitorable along with what happens in terms of rate hikes, not just by the Fed, but the other central bankers, including ECB. But I think over the next few weeks, in an interim time period, I think you should see some amount of soothing of nerves. The markets might correct a tad bit in that time period. But again, I think that becomes an opportune time for long-term investors to probably start accumulating small chunks of qualitative names within the large and mid-cap universe.